Arrive, pay, and stay. I say this a lot. It rhymes. We know, hey, it's got a nice ring to it. Yet I want you to understand the why of arrive, pay, and stay. I think this is important. I've gone back to this a lot recently with some of my clients, some of my potential clients. Arrive, pay, and stay. And I want you to think about it in the context of the conversation around the patient life cycle, the patient experience. Arrive, pay, and stay is actually the order we need things to occur. And what I want to talk to you about again, why arrive, pay, and stay is because arrive, pay, and stay has every single business metric that's important to you and your team. And this term arrive, pay, and stay is actually a great way to get you, the person putting the strategy together, you, the person building out the client experience. It's a great way to get you in the right mindset of how to manage this work. Arrive, pay, and stay is the order it has to happen. Arrive, pay, and stay is what you tell your team members, right? My front desk team members, all they focus on, right, is arrival. Think about this for a second. Think about the impact of that. When I go to my front desk team, when the rest of my team sees arrive, pay, and stay. What I also love about this is when I have a team together and they see how the front desk team is working on arrive, the impact of that word rather than scheduled is huge for everybody on the team. It changes the focus and the mindset of the front desk team. It's arrive. It's not scheduled. It's not check insurance benefits. It's none of that. It's arrival. And already you guys are probably starting to think, but there's more arrival. I get it. There's some overlap. But I want you to understand the impact of this simple phrase on you building out the strategy, on you building out the processes, on you engaging your team members to help you build out the strategy and process, giving them a place to focus, right? And keeping them focused on the work that's important, right? Our front desk team members have a lot of tasks. They have a lot of responsibilities. I get it. We don't always prioritize them. And when we're talking about arrival, it puts a priority on the task and it makes them, and when I work with them, me question this task you're telling me about, where does it sit in a priority list of things to do to drive arrival? And we sit there and we think and we discuss it. And if it's not a high priority task, then it gets moved to a different place. This is where checklists come in, right? The majority of the checklists need to help you and your team prioritize their tasks for the day. So arrive, pay, and stay, the impact of the word arrive. Then pay. I love pay because we all know it pretty much permeates the whole damn thing, yet it puts it in second place. So the phone call doesn't start with, if you're focused on arrival, pay is one of the boxes. If you're focused on pay is the only box. What's your insurance? What insurance do you have, right? My Lord, my secret callers, the calls I listen to, right? So now we get to pay. Now pay involves, right, not only front desk team, but billing team, people doing benefit checks, maybe people having to discuss. What I like about pay here, again, if you're hybrid, if you're out of network, if you're cash pay only, it causes the front desk team to say, look, I'm focused on arrival, first visit arrival, by the way. Not all arrivals are of the same value if you think about it. All arrivals are important, but not all, right? Not all hold the same value. First visit arrival is the most important, most valuable thing in your clinic. So then you get to pay, and it makes you think about, where does pay fit in this arrival process? Because you have to get paid. People have to know how they're going to pay. People have to know their cost for their first visit, and yes, each subsequent visit afterwards. So now we have pay, and where does that fit? And where are the processes, and where are the strategies, and who needs to be involved in the process to make sure we get paid? Really, I say we get paid, but there's two parts of this now, right? There's we get paid, and the potential clients, patients, know how much their cost is. So this is, again, really puts the emphasis where it needs to be on both the business and the patient. But we lead, this is how my journey started with this, was the pay side, right? And I realized we weren't getting information to our potential patients and clients early enough, because I knew we needed to get paid, but I de-emphasize the fact that they have to know cost and what they're going to pay. And so a process came together again where I realized, wow, I've got a business initiative here and I have a client patient initiative I have to address here, right? So now I'm thinking of arrival. I'm thinking, where does pay fit with arrival? And then knowing damn well I got to deal with pay as part of stay, right? So again, sitting in front of my team, arrive, pay, and stay, right? When people raise their hands in the groups and want to talk about pay and stay, I'm like, we haven't even talked about first visit arrival. We got to talk about arrive. It's arrive, pay, and stay. And the pay becomes part of arrival, yes, but it's not the primary focus and it's not the only focus. This, it's interesting when I work with teams and I tell them, look, this is going to be specific to you. There are templates or structures, right? Arrive, pay, and stay. And I have all these things, but you have to tell me, how do you want to manage cost with your clients? How do you want to manage a cost conversation during this first visit arrival and then subsequently for their visits? And man, you start talking to people about this and they hem and haw and they don't really know because they haven't had the structure. They've left it up to their front desk team to talk about pay, which is the absolute worst thing you can do. And it's the absolute worst thing you can do because your front desk team doesn't need that pressure. They need a system and a structure for talking about pay that sets them up for success, that does what? Gets the clients they're talking to arrive. You like where I'm going with this? It's arrive, pay, and then stay. And so then you're building out the front end systems, right? I have people that give people their insurance benefits before they arrive. I have people that give their insurance benefits, shall we say, and cost if available, when they arrive. I have people that give, right, cash practices that talk about price on first phone call. You must bring it up. You must bring it up. And then collection, right? Pay means collecting. Do we collect at the beginning of the visit, at the end of the visit? By the way, once we understand the arrival process and then pay, we build the conversation around pay into the arrival conversation. But only after we understand how we're going to work on arrival can we build in pay. And the best way to get people to pay is make sure they know before they arrive that payment is due at the time of service. And when I say payment, your $50, your $100, your $25 is due when you arrive. That is 95% of the solution of co-pay collection problems. You also notice arrive and pay, right? Different ownerships. Arrival is front desk. Pay may be a billing team now coming on to take ownership of some of this. So again, when you have the whole team in front of you, all the team members are addressed in arrive, pay, and stay also, right? Which is kind of cool, right? Because patient success comes from team success, right? And all the team members understanding their role, their responsibilities, their accountabilities in getting this completed plan of care, right? If you think about it, a completed plan of care has arrive, pay, and stay in it. So, right, all the team members understand their objectives, and then the billing team comes in, right? I'm going through this right now with a lot of my front desk clients, right? And we do benefit checks in the company I have, right? Asking people, you want benefit checks done? And they go, yeah. And I go, when do you want to deliver those benefits to people? And it's always dead air because they haven't really thought about it, right? We're helping them with the arrive part. I said, now we're going to double up on the stay part, pay part, sorry. And it's interesting because in my company, we have, as I just said, it's arrive, then pay, right? Two different teams, right? It's two different team members. The person answering the phone in that business does not do the benefit checks, right? Those are two distinct roles in this process. Can they be? Yes, in a small company. Can you scale up the person answering the new patient calls to do benefit checks? No, 100% no, right? But they got to coordinate. We got to know, how are we going to get the information back and forth? What am I going to promise? Right now, last week, we were going through, my team's been running through all calling benefit checks. So we're getting this, how long does it take you to do a benefit check? You know, what's the low number you can get in a day? And that's the promise I make, right? How quickly can we get it back? And then we build that into what? The arrival conversation. Okay, Jerry, we'll have those benefit checks for you, you know, in 2 days, 48 hours. I'm going to call you back on Tuesday at 3:00. All right. So understanding that it's arrive and pay, we built in these systems to facilitate arrival through getting people their benefits at a time we can promise them and getting it to them in a timely manner. And again, I'm just giving you an example of how that works. And then making sure that they understand payment is due at the time of service. And if you're billing insurance, making sure they understand how this system works. And then the stay part. I like stay because stay is, yes, stay is follow-up arrivals, right? Let's just be honest about that. But it takes a different word. So it's arrive, pay, and stay, right? Because that first visit arrival is so important. I don't want it to get mixed up with fourth, fifth, sixth visit arrival, because someone not showing for their first visit is far bigger hit and far bigger detriment to your company than someone canceling and rescheduling their sixth visit, or even not showing for that visit. Right? First visit arrival is an A, right? Is the primary goal. Has to be the A number one most important goal. So then we have stay, right? Now we've coordinated stay with a lot of the language and systems and processes that have happened upstream. People are more likely to stay if they know their costs and when it's due. People are more likely to stay when they get an EOB or they arrive and they're asked for their $50, right? And they know this is the system, and they start to build trust, right? And we start to manage and set expectations, right? And we actually take the load off of the provider to deal with all this on visit one, on visit two, on visit three. So with the stay, we're now turning to the providers and the providers teams, right? PTs, PT assistants, chiros, whatever, and the assistants and the aides. And we start building out the systems there. Everybody always does it backwards. And it can't work that way. You can reverse engineer it, don't get me wrong, but most people I work with have already built out all the systems for stay, but don't have arrive and pay, which, by the way, you guys have heard me preach this a million times. If you want to facilitate better stay, decrease cancels, decrease no-shows, decrease drop-offs, increase completed plans of care, you build up the arrive and pay part 100%. The best way to manage a cancel problem is go upstream. The best way to manage a drop-off problem, go upstream. The best way to manage a no-show problem is go upstream. Your PTs aren't the only one. Your providers aren't the only ones responsible for those. Most of that is dealt with and managed when expectations are set for what? For first visit arrival. So this arrive, pay, and stay, that's the why. Gets the team focused. It gets you focused, building out systems. It gets the team to understand what their role is in the bigger picture, greater buy-in. I see more respect for front desk team members when the providers and everybody sits down together and they map out this arrive, pay, and stay, right? Your client's life cycle or pre-arrival, right? I even break down that patient life cycle into pre-arrival, arrival, and then course of care. And if you think about it, that's arrive, pay, and stay. Again, pay is overlapping a lot, but that's the way we work that out. All right, that's the why of arrive, pay, and stay. And it's more, let's be honest, I put it together first because I thought it rhymed and it was easy to remember and I could be the arrive, pay, and stay guy. And the more we do this, the more I do this with teams, the more I see it gets them focused, the more I see it gets the front desk team focused on first visit arrival. I train all front desk teams, right? That their primary objective is to sell visit number one. That's it. What goes into selling visit number one? And the beauty is when you sell visit number one, you're facilitating stay. When you get someone on the phone and you don't focus on visit number one and you focus on getting them scheduled out and you jump, it's funny because most front desk teams jump over the first visit arrival so fast that it just goes over people's heads. And then the front desk has moved into arrive, pay, and stay and trying to be the end all be all with that. And that's the reason people no show and cancel their first visit. They didn't even get a chance to experience your business, your services, your treatment, your experts, and they ditched out because we talked past first visit arrival. Arrive, pay, and stay gets the front desk team focused on first visit arrival. Get that person in the clinic ready to pay and ready to agree to a plan of care, right? That is presented to them on visit number one, right? I call it tilting the playing field, right? When you manage this properly upstream, it becomes easier for everybody downstream. This is why I talk about the front desk playing such an important role. Team, right? Everybody plays the same role. So that by the time the front desk has people on the schedule ready to arrive and pay. They're ready to stay. Now the provider picks the ball up, takes them through the eval. Everybody says, yep, sounds great to me, right? So arrive, pay, and stay is really this mindset for you to start with, to do the work, to do the strategy, to get your team together, to get your team focused on a bigger picture, and then get them to be able to drill down to their role and their objectives. Arrive, pay, and stay. That's why. Thanks, everybody.